Hello, everyone. This is the most magnificent bird, Beak, speaking to you today. And in today's video, I'm back at it with another character review. And this character review is going to be on Gold Mythic Wolfman Dwight. Not only are we going to do the character review, I'm also going to go over the new Halloween candy event. I hope that's what it's called, but after we go over the character review, we're going to go over everything else in the gray market as well. And before we get started, I hope all of you are doing good and staying safe out there. I'm doing good, and I'm staying safe for the most part. And I know this has nothing to do with RTS. I just want to mention this real quickly. For you wrestling fans out there, Edge, who was in WWE, he's now in AEW. Of course, he can't use the name Edge there. He has to use his real name, which is Adam Copeland. And I can't wait to see what he has to say. And honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing him in AEW. Just what first time matchups he's gonna have, and the possibility of Adam Copeland versus Christian Cage down the road, because right now Christian Cage, he's been an absolute prick in AEW, probably his best heel work ever. But enough of that. I just kind of wanted to let you guys know that, and let's go ahead and jump into the character review, shall we? Wolfman Dwight, Saviors. And I just gotta say, I absolutely love that artwork. Oh man, okay. I love the character design. I love the artwork for sure. Now let's continue. His trait is fast. His role is a damage dealer. And his allegiance is a member of the Saviors. Now let's take a look at his stats. His attack stat is 27,105. His defense is 14,417. And his HP is 16,147. Now let's take a look at his adrenaline rush. Savage Slash. The recharge rate is 66 AP, so that's the standard for most gold mythics. Deals 600% damage to an enemy, plus 600% damage if this fighter has more attack than the target. If this fighter has the same or less attack than the target, impair that enemy for 2 turns. Okay, so there's nothing complicated going on here. It's pretty straightforward. Dwight is going to be dealing out 600 damage, 600% damage, no matter what is going to happen. So, one of two things is going to happen. He's either going to deal 600% damage plus another 600% damage if he has more attack than the target that he's targeting, or he's going to still do the 600% damage, plus he would be doing, he would be impairing the enemy if that enemy has the same amount of attack or less than Dwight. So either way, something good is going to happen, and I quite like the adrenaline rush, but there's definitely more into his kit for sure. So for him being a free-to-play toon, it seems like he is going to be a free-to-play toon, hopefully. But yeah, he seems to be doing a pretty decent amount of damage at 600%. That's nothing to really sneeze at. A potential 1200% damage if Dwight has more attack. And as you level him up, put mods on him and all of that, and depending on the leader skill you put Dwight, behind, that attack will potentially be higher. So either way, I don't think it's a bad situation. Even if he isn't doing 1200% damage, then he'll do the 600% damage, plus he will impair that enemy for 2 turns. So I honestly do think the Adrenaline Rush is pretty good either way. So let's take a look at his signature move, Rip and Tear. The initial cooldown is turn 1. 1 turn for the cooldown. Number of uses unlimited. If the target is already bleeding, deal 10% of this fighter's attack stat as bleed damage for 6 turns. Deal 600% damage to the target. Holy cow, man. Now, okay, here's the only downside to this signature move. I'm going to get that downside out of the way first. If you're coming up against a Jackie or a Wang Falid, that's obviously not going to, the bleed is going to be blocked, at least for the first 2 turns, which, honestly, that's the only downside. But he's still going to be doing 600% damage, but if you're coming up against any other team than any of the other 2 leaders that I just mentioned, this is going to be a great thing, and there's absolutely potential for the target to possibly be bleeding before you hit the signature move. We will be getting into that. So yeah, deal 10% of this fighter's attack stat as bleed damage for 6 turns, and if that particular target doesn't get that cleanse, that's potentially, you can kiss them goodbye, pretty much. So that's going to be really great. That's going to be a lot of bleed, potentially. I honestly love it. Alright, I won't say I love it, but I like it. For me personally, I still think this character's really good. But however, I think where I have been using Father's Day Tyrese so much, the signature move is a little bit of a downgrade because he doesn't have Normalize. I wish they would have given Dwight Normalize. But other than that, I can absolutely see a lot of people absolutely loving this signature move. And I do still think it's a pretty good signature move as well. And the potential of it can definitely be great. So yeah, the signature move is pretty great. The Adrenaline Rush is pretty great too. Now let's take a look at his mythic abilities. Agility, 20% increase in basic attack damage. Absolutely level that one up all the way. No need to really go into it all that much. Absolutely level absolutely level agility up in all your damage dealers without a question. Attacker, 100% attack down resistance. Yeah, I probably would go ahead and level that one up. I don't think that one would, I don't think it would be a bad idea to go ahead and level it up right now anyway. So, yeah, I probably would go ahead and level it up for sure. I don't think it's a bad one. It won't hurt unless you're like really low on trainers. Gain or pain. Before this fighter performs their adrenaline rush, 50-50 chance this fighter gets Guardian Shield or a random enemy gets minus 60% defense for 2 turns. Honestly, yeah, I would go ahead and level this one up because, either way, it won't hurt Dwight. You know what I mean? You don't know which one you're going to get. So it just, I guess it's RNG, right? It's pretty much RNG which one is gonna happen. But either way, it's a positive for Dwight. So yeah, I would definitely level that one up. Many cuts. At the start of each turn, a random enemy gets 10% of this fighter's attack stat as bleed damage for one turn. There you go. That one I would 100% level up for sure. Many cuts. That's where that signature move and this mythic ability are going to work together pretty much. Unless Dwight is somehow stunned or dazed, whatever enemy is bleeding at the start, you can just apply that signature move. Boom. He or she, whoever the target is bleeding for, what is that, 7 turns instead of the 6, which, unless that's cleansed, that 7-turn bleed is, it's going to be absolutely nuts, for sure. All of his mythic abilities, I think I would go ahead and level up. I think we have to do that anyway, as a part of this current event, so unless you're like really, really low on the trainers, I wouldn't know why you wouldn't level up the mythic abilities. So I think they're all pretty good at one point or another. Now let's take a look at his specialist skill. Now, why I mentioned Father's Day Tyrese, this is why. On a roll 2, this fighter's attack increases by 40% at the start of each turn after the first, up to 3 times. Bonus resets if killed, stunned, or impaired. So yeah, this is kind of why I was comparing Wolfman Dwight to Father's Day Tyrese, because they both have on a roll 2. Right now, I obviously like Father's Day Tyrese just a little bit more because he has that normalized, which is something I wish Wolfman Dwight had, but if that 6-turn, potential 7-turn bleed can work out, then I can see why they didn't add it to Wolfman Dwight, because he is supposed to be free to play. So yeah, overall, a pretty good specialist skill. So far, I'm really liking the character. Like I said, I love his overall design. I love the artwork. Absolutely. And I love those, it looks like homemade wolf claws he's got going on there. So now, we're going to take a look at his weapon. Wolfman Dwight's homemade claws. 40% attack, a huge bonus to AP when attacking, improved teammate reviving. When killing a target, a 50% chance to revive a teammate with 75% HP and 100% defense for 2 turns. Improved bleed boost. Increase all bleed damage this fighter does by 8% of their attack stat. Okay, so let's talk about his weapon. 40% attack, that's really good. The huge bonus to AP the huge bonus to AP when attacking. That's obviously going to be pretty good too. Improved teammate reviving. Yeah, that's honestly, yeah, that's pretty good too. Obviously, if you mod up Dwight, if you mod him correctly, Dwight that is, yeah, he potentially could be taking people out left and right, which that teammate reviving can definitely come in handy for sure in certain situations. And now, for the bleed boost, normally I would say this is actually a pretty bad one. Improved bleed boost. But however, with this character in particular, I actually might leave this on him for real. I was thinking about maybe 1535 for Dwight, but the fact that, you know, the improved bleed boost can take advantage of other parts of his kit and only make that bleed more powerful, I honestly would leave that alone, and I would just go for 55% attack and just, there you go. That's how I would do the weapon. Maybe if you wanted to change the huge bonus to AP, I mean, you can, but you would be missing out on a potential 5% of attack. So, yeah, I think that's how I would go personally. Go 55% attack and just leave everything else. That's how I would go. So, yeah. I think he potentially could be a really good character. I've seen some people say that he's already better than Father's Day Tyrese. Right now, I wouldn't go that far, but maybe that's a little bit, for me, a little biased for me because I've been using Tyrese so much, and I have really appreciated that normalize it comes with Tyrese. And maybe Dwight down the road could potentially be better than Tyrese, but right now I'm not gonna go down that road right now. We'll have to see because I don't imagine anybody has Dwight right now. So yeah, like I said, I love his look. He looks pretty badass. His artwork looks really badass, especially with the moon in the background, him howling. I can't get over that artwork. I absolutely love it. And will I be trying to get this character? Absolutely, I'm going to try to get this character for sure. And are you going to try to get this character? Let me know down in the comments. Now, let's talk about all the other stuff quickly. Next, we have the Boneyard Assault Rifle, 40% attack, 40% HP, Trick or Treat. At the start of each wave, 50-50 chance all teammates get focus for 2 turns, or all enemies get 5,000 trauma for 2 turns. Tough attacks. At the start of each turn, all other teammates get 10% attack for each tough teammate on the team for 1 turn. I don't know how I feel about this weapon. I guess it depends on who you're planning on putting this weapon on. I mean, the Trick or Treat 3rd slot is unique, but how useful is it actually going to be? And I mean, it would be useful on really difficult road maps, sure, but, you know, how much use is this weapon going to get outside of road maps, realistically? And then the tough attacks, that's pretty good, too. But I'm not sure. I'm kind of mixed on this weapon, honestly. What do you guys think about this weapon? I would rather much have the character than this weapon. But, I mean, it could have its uses down the road for, like, really difficult road maps, but you aren't guaranteed for all of the enemies to get trauma. That's the thing. So, I mean, it's 50-50. So, it's either a trick or a treat, like it says. So, I don't know. I'm mixed on the weapon, honestly. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Now, we have the Trick or Treat avatar. Hey, I mean, if you're a big fan of avatars, here's another avatar to add to your collection. A Walker Frankenstein, and he looks like he's got a Walker ear there. Oh, great. Alright, so if you really want an avatar, here you go. Then we have some Paragon mods, which, let's see, that's a stun resist. That's a pretty good one, honestly. Yeah, that one would be worth a pickup. Now, let's see what this one is. An exhaust resist. Okay, yeah, that one's probably even better, maybe. 2 pretty good Paragon mods, for sure. Now, we have attack while taunted. Okay. I mean, probably not as good as the other 2, but that's still not a bad one. Now, let's see, we have this other one. Attack while impaired. Okay, probably the weakest one, I would say, maybe. But, I mean, not horrible, but the other three, I think, are better, in my opinion. Now, let's see the last one. Attack set mod. So that one's totally random, which can be good or bad. I don't know. What are your thoughts on the mods? Let me know. They're all Paragon, so most of them are good, but you could end up getting a really crappy one. I know that sounds hard to believe, but there are crappy Paragon mods, but yeah, there are. Now let's look at the gear metal bag. Okay, so all gold gear metal, so I mean, you know, it wouldn't be a terrible pickup to have these because, I mean, they are harder to come by, so I did open one of these today, and I actually got 100. I mean, that's, you know, it's better than 25, so, I mean, I'll take it, but, yeah, there we go. We got the gear metal bags, silver choice tokens. They're definitely needed for sure, and, I mean, they're pretty cheap. 50, what's that, 50 jack-o'-lanterns? Or no, Halloween candy. They look like well, I mean, they are jack-o'-lanterns, they just have candy in them. Okay. So you have the silver choice tokens, you have the bennies. Oh yeah, you have the SP trainers. These are the trainers that are definitely the hardest to come by. And then you have these that are kind of hard to come by, but they're easier to come by than the other two trainers. So I would say these two trainers, if you can, are definitely worth picking up for sure, just because they are hard to come by, especially the purple ones. The bennies wouldn't be a bad pickup either. The silver choice tokens are definitely worth a pickup for sure. And then the gear metal bags, definitely not a bad pickup either. But my number one priority is going to be Wolfman Dwight. I do think he's going to be really good. And yeah, that's all I got for you guys for today. And what are your thoughts on Gold Mythic Wolfman Delight? Are you going to be picking him up, or are you going to pass on him? And what are your thoughts on the Halloween candy event and everything else that you can get? Whatever your thoughts are on the weapon, the avatar, the Paragon mods, the gear, bags, the trainers, you know, all of that good stuff. Whatever your thoughts are on all of that, just let me know down in the comments. I want to thank each and every one of you for stopping by and for your continued support. Or if you're new, welcome in for the first time. All of you are very awesome, and I thank you again. And don't forget to hit the bell and switch on all notifications so you know the second I upload to YouTube. I am Buck Beak, and I'm gonna go fly away back to my nest. Until next time, bye guys.